Let's build a search campaign for a law firm. Work with a lot of law firms around the country, everything from personal injury to family law to social security disability law. So we'll probably focus on social security today because I think that it can be a good example for what to do. We work with a few of those around the country as well. But whatever your area of expertise is, follow the same rules. We're going to keep things really simple for search. We love search campaigns for legal. It's where the user has the highest intent. They went to Google to solve a problem. They're looking for an attorney in a specific field, and we want your ad to show up at the top of those search results with a sponsored ad. Those ads can be kind of expensive, but again, the user has extremely high intent. They're not searching for an attorney near me because they're just interested in learning something. They have a problem. They want your help solving it. So, despite your legal expertise, follow along, and we're going to keep things really simple as we build this in my Google Ad account. Let's go ahead and hop in. I'll share my screen here and we'll take a look at our Google Ads dashboard. We're going to build a search campaign inside my Google Ad account. This is where I run my own ads for my agency, so follow along. I want you to use your website and your information. First thing we're going to do though is actually start over here on the left-hand side. Let's do some keyword research and find out how users are looking for our law practice. Okay, so we're going to go under Tools and scroll up to Planning and hit Keyword Planner. And again, we're going to keep things really simple, really small at first. If you're new to Google Ads, or if you have an underperforming Google Ads campaign, I want you to go back and simplify things, okay? We start small, and once we have success, we'll scale it from there. We can always go back and add more keywords, okay? So we're going to keep things small here. I'm just going to type in a few broad keywords to get us started. Again, I'm going to use Social Security Disability as my example. Make sure I spell things correct. So I'm just going to put those two and get started here, and I'll show you why in a second. It's going to give us results for the entire country. I want you to narrow this down to your neck of the woods. I'm here in Clearwater, Florida, which is part of the Tampa area. So I'm going to include that and Clearwater and maybe St. Petersburg as well, and remove the entire United States and hit save. I can see I've got very few searches, right? So that tells me one of two things. One, these keywords are too limiting, right? They're too specific, perhaps, or they're just not how users are searching for an SSD attorney, or it has to do with my geography I selected. So I purposely did that so I could show you that I want you to play around with this to get it right. Notice it carved out a pretty specific municipalities. We're actually not going to target this way in our ads, but we have to for our search volume here. So I'll put a few other communities here. And then what we're going to go do is go back to our, oops, we don't want that area. We're going to go back to our keywords and add more. So I added the county. I know that's much larger. Didn't change anything. So that tells me I need to look at my keywords, right? So the reason I'm doing this is a lot of times when I work with businesses, they have an idea of how they think the users are finding them. They have an idea of the keywords they want to spend money on. Before we go set up a campaign, and have super high expectations around those keywords. Let's put them in this planning tool and confirm that's how the user is searching for your practice. What we're learning here is we might need to broaden this up a little bit because I don't see a lot of search volume, despite having a pretty large geographical area with millions of people on it. Specifically here in Florida, a lot of older people who might be our ideal clientele for something like Social Security. So I'm going to go over here and hit keyword ideas on the top left-hand side. And again, I'm just going to put some of these terms in here. I don't need to put more than one. And I'm going to hit get results. And let's see what people are actually typing in when they look for an SSD attorney. So Social Security law firm, disability lawyers near me. That's too broad. Social Security insurance lawyer near me. We'll use that one. So notice there's a lot of near me embedded with these keywords. We like that. All right, let's grab a few of those. I grabbed 7. And then with this blue menu bar, I'm going to add keywords to plan. I'm going to scroll up to the top and I'm going to hit Saved Keywords tab to go back to the screen where I've got my geography set in here. And there we go. There's some consistent volume on a daily basis or monthly basis. That's what we wanted to see. So let's scroll down And it looks like we have a few thousand search queries every single month in the Tampa Clearwater area. This is perfect. So, what we just did there is we saved ourselves some confusion and frustration if I had just gone and built a campaign built on what I thought users were using when they search for my Social Security disability law firm. And I found new ways where people are actually typing into Google to find these law firms. So now I know how to build this from the beginning. I need to use Social Security spelled out. I need to incorporate near me in those keywords as well. So let's go build a campaign. I want you to spend some time in here before you build anything, all right? Use your legal practice. So if you don't do Social Security, obviously, if you do family law or personal injury, workers' comp, use those keywords, explore how people are finding it in your geography. Take 4 or 5 of them because we're going to go build those in our campaign right now. So, on the left-hand side, I'm going to hit campaigns. I'm going to hit the big blue plus sign for new campaign. We're going to use an objective for leads. This is going to be for form fills and phone calls, people who go to our website. We want to collect their information so that we can talk to them. Now it preset some goals. This is my Google Ad account. I already have these goals established. So it's saying, hey, here's your conversion goals for submitting lead forms and phone calls. If you don't have these set up in your account yet, you'll have to set something up and there won't be anything here other than maybe a page view. We'll circle back at the end of building this campaign on setting up at least a phone call, and I'll talk to you about how to do form fills as well. So I'm going to go ahead and hit continue here. We want to use the search campaign. That's what we're doing again. That's where the user has the highest intent. They went to the Google search bar to look for a specific type of law firm. That's why we want to focus this tutorial on search. It's going to preload some of these goals again. Technically, we want to get those leads by website visits, right? We're going to send them to our website where our website is responsible for creating that conversion, whether it be a phone call or a form fill. You can do call only ads, and maybe your law firm has also done some Google guaranteed ads, so it's going to be kind of expensive. You can do call only ads here as well. For this purpose, we actually don't want to do that though. We want to send traffic to our website. We want our website to earn the conversion, and that could be a phone call or a form fill, or maybe it's something that you have a tool like Calendly embedded, and people can actually just book directly on your website. Store visits are obviously great for restaurants and businesses that have a lot of foot traffic. We're not going to use that for a law firm. We don't want people just walking in. Lead form submissions. Yes, we do want lead form submissions. Again, if you don't have this set up in your account yet, you can't pick this. It's going to want you to put some code on the website, and we're going to circle back around to some of these goals here at the end of the campaign build. Messages from your ads, you can actually have an extension on the ad where people can message you. I don't recommend that. First of all, they don't attract a lot of users. Most users want to go to your website to earn your trust, right? They want to go find out all they can about you. They want to see if they can answer some questions on their own and just learn about your services before reaching out. And then you also have to be available all the time because if you miss it, you miss it, and it was a wasted click, and they charge for these. So we're going to put website visits here. I want you to put your website in here. Again, this is from my account, so I'm using my personal business email or website, and I'm going to hit continue. Make sure to put your website in there. Don't worry too much about the name of your campaign. That's just totally up to you. For now, I'm going to say local search ads and hit continue. Nope, I'm going to start new. I've got some drafts from previous tutorials. Bidding, this is really important. It defaults to conversions, which is truly what we want, but we're actually going to start with this one down here, click-based bid strategy. I want to attract traffic to my website, see how it performs, see what my cost per conversion is, make sure those conversions are quality. And then after I accumulate some over about 30, 45 days, I'm going to come back into my settings and switch it to a conversion-based bid strategy. To launch a campaign, I always start with a click-based bid strategy. Notice there's 4 options here. I'll just briefly touch on these others so you know what they are. They don't really help lead gen as much as click and conversion based bid strategies. The first is conversion value. I use this one for e-commerce store where we're constantly measuring our return on ad spend, and we can set target ROAS goals through conversion value as well. Impression share is used oftentimes by large brands trying to protect that image, trying to protect their results online. So we can tell Google when someone searches for my brand name, I need to show up 90% of the time. So it's not based on conversion or return on ad spend. It's solely based on just frequently showing up at the top. A lot of people do that for brand management, large brands, franchises, of the like. So for us, we're really lead gen. We want clicks, we want traffic first, and then we want conversions. Of course, that's the ultimate goal, but we're actually going to start with the click bids, and then we're going to gravitate towards conversions 30, 45, 60 days in. What we're really hoping is to start to see consistent phone calls and form fills, and then we'll make that switch. So we'll start with clicks. Bid for new customers only. It very seems logical to do that. We're actually not going to do it. It's going to want you to upload first-party data. You may not have that, so we're not going to worry about first-party data right now, and we're going to hit next. This is important. Google pre-selects that they want you to include ads on their search network. These are websites and search engines that Google owns. We don't want that. And also the display network. These are text ads. They're not image ads, so we don't want banner ads on ESPN with just a bunch of text. Those never perform well, and we don't want to include that. It's a money grab for Google. Please deselect those for any search campaign you're running. Locations, we want to be specific. We're going to enter another location, which is the fourth option down. Now, this is where people make a mistake because Google's prompting you to put in the city or a zip code. We don't want to do that. We're going to hit advanced search to the right, and we're going to switch to radius targeting at the top. And I'm going to put in my radius here in Tampa and take a look. Looks like that's skipping me out here on the edge of Clearwater. I'm just south of Dunedin here. So I'm going to expand that to 25 and see if that looks better. Yeah, I can actually go 30, can't I? Let's do 30 miles out. So play around with this for your area. Population density plays a big role on how big that radius can be. If you're in a rural area, you can be pretty large. You might be even to cover an entire state. Again, if this is a new campaign for you, or if you're new to Google Ads, I always start small and then you can scale it. So once you have success in your backyard, wherever your office is, you can either create a new campaign for the entire state, or you can expand the campaign that we're going to build today. Either way, own your backyard first, start small, and then scale it once you have success. I love radius targeting. It's actually better than zip code and municipal targeting. You notice when we were doing our keyword research, you can only use those municipalities or counties, and the lines are very jagged. There's holes and gaps. Radius targeting is the superior way to go. So we're going to hit save and move on. Location options. We have to expand this. We don't want presence or interest. We just want presence. Here in Florida, especially, we have tourists year round. I don't want anyone interested in the area searching. I want people who are actually here. Language, we're going to leave it default for English. If you are in a large Spanish speaking community, I encourage you to select Spanish, deselect English, use Spanish keywords and Spanish ad copy. And if you haven't created one, create a Spanish landing page as well. For now, we're going to leave this as English. Audience segments, these are great audience segments Google has using cookies. There's none for like legal and healthcare and insurance that we can use, unfortunately. There are some affinity audiences like home and garden, DIY, travel enthusiasts, things like that. So there might be some commonalities, in particular with Social Security disability. We might find it's people who are into those three subjects, right? Those are affinity audiences. Feel free to use this search field and browse. You can select some. Unfortunately, there's no specific in-market audiences for the legal field, and there are for other industries, just so you know, and you can play around with that. But like, you can get people who are in market for digital marketing services, or people who are in market for a new Chevy Silverado. You can get really specific. So feel free to play around. We're going to skip this part because there's no direct audiences for our legal office here. We're going to scroll down. These are all fine settings. Okay. We want to keep our automatically created assets turned off by default. That turned on would mean Google could go create new ads on our behalf. We don't want that. Hit next. Great AI tool. It's getting stronger and stronger, guys. I might not have a job in a couple of years. All right. You can put your URL here and it's going to come up with its own description right here. I didn't write any of that. It just produced it. I can hit generate here in the bottom right hand corner, and it'll actually create an ad with ad copy and descriptions for me as well. I don't want to do that. Play around with this, see how strong it is. I've noticed using it for clients that the better your website, the better the AI results. So it's really piggybacking off the content it can pull from the website, and the better it is, the stronger it'll produce ads. It can be pretty generic though, so I actually don't recommend it. It's getting better. It's not there yet. Play with it, see what happens on your end. For now, I'm going to hit skip. All right, here's where we get to put those keywords that we did our research for at the front of the video. Again, we're going to start small, and we can always come back and expand. Notice I'm putting parentheses around my keywords. We're going to talk about that in just a second. because I am not a good multitasker. Let's just start with these four. So these parentheses mean we're using phrase match keywords. If I were to remove these, this would be known as broad match. So broad match is going to allow any searches similar to any of these keywords show my ad. Phrase is going to say you can show my ad to anyone using these keywords in any order, but they have to be really specific to Social Security law firm. And then exact, you can actually put brackets around these keywords. It looks like this. Brackets mean exact match, and that's telling Google you can only show my ad if they look for this exact keyword. I like phrase, that's my go-to. Some people will tell you that they like broad with a healthy negative keyword list, and we'll get to that after we build this as well. I like phrase, it means that I don't have to have a huge list of keywords. I'm going to let Google take these four and expand upon it and let our ad be seen by very similar searches as long as they're closely related to Social Security law firm. So we're going to go down. Again, we're using my website as my example because I am not actually a law firm. So please use yours, the appropriate one. We're going to scroll down. Notice it pre-filled again using AI some headlines when I have my URL. So you might see what they put for yours when you put your URL in. But really, what we want to do here is we want to embed as many keywords as we can into our ad copy. That's going to have the best chance of having a high click-through rate and a lower cost per click. Put some call to actions, information about where you're located. Again, these are all made up. These are just examples. Okay, you get the idea. So embed as many keywords in these headlines. You can put up to 15 headlines, and I encourage you to put at least 10 in here as well. You can pin some of these by hovering over that pin and say, I only want this one in the first position, and I only want free consultation in the third position. I actually don't recommend doing this on the onset. Let Google show how they think is the most relevant to the user search query. And think about pinning headlines later on in the future. If the campaign underperforms, if you don't see the results you want, play around with changing your headlines and play around with pinning some headlines. But on the onset, when you launch this, don't pin anything. Just try it. Go in here, try to add at least 10 headlines, capitalize the first letter of each word. That's Google's best practice. We're going to scroll down. Try to put at least two good descriptions in here. In your descriptions, make sure to mention maybe your location, mention some information about, in this case, your law firm that you want to, how long you've been helping people, how long it might take, things like that. Be descriptive in here. You can have 90 characters. Try to use all 90. These are pre-filled again from AI. I recommend you personalizing those descriptions as much as you can for your law firm. Try to put some good information in there that's not too generic, but also use your keywords. So again, how long you've been in business, how long a phone call might take, and the benefit of why they should call perhaps. We're going to scroll down, add some images. What's really cool about Google's image tools, you can upload them directly from your computer. You can scan your website. And when you put your URL in here, it's also going to bring up any social media accounts that are connected to that website. So we'll again use mine as an example. So there's some images pulled from the website, and there's also some here I can scan Facebook, which is pretty cool. Or I can also use free stock images. I can just put law firm in here pretty generically, and it'll probably produce some images. So these images show up adjacent to your ad, and it's actually proved to increase your click-through rate. So I do encourage you to pick a handful of images, however you see fit. Put the name of your business in here, of course. That's important. That's going to show on top of the ad where it says sponsored. Grab your logo. Again, you can scan your websites and see what it pulls. I don't know what mine will pull these days. I've changed mine. There you go. And select that. I don't like how it's going to crop that. So I'm going to go back to results, go to my asset library, and maybe just pull this one, see how it crops. There we go. That's cropped. Hit save. Site links, these are direct links to specific pages on your website. So you can have one for the contact form, maybe one for an evaluation, one for the specific service that you're advertising for. So I would recommend trying to use four. Obviously, if you don't have that many pages on your website, you can't. But include these. They take up real estate in search results, which removes a competitor's ad. So I highly recommend you use at least four site links. Again, those are links to specific pages on your website. So you'll put those URLs with a brief description in here. Callouts, I highly recommend using callouts. Again, we're talking about taking up real estate and search results. These show beneath the ad descriptions, and you can put things like, free consultation, free calls, things like that. Again, we're just trying to take up research. These are text that oftentimes users are probably not going to read, honestly. But again, we want to try to take up as much space in search results as we can. So I do recommend adding some call outs here. You can see some examples that I've used for different templates and different videos I've built here for YouTube. Just words that you want to use taking up real estate. So step-by-step instructions, free consultation, 14 years of experience, master Google Ads, things like that are some examples that I've used in my ads. So we're done here with building this ad, okay? This is a pretty simple ad. We're going to set our budget. I'm putting it at $1 because I don't actually want this ad to run, of course. We start small for a reason. We have to get some success based on these small nuggets of information we're giving Google. Once we have success, we can scale it. We can increase the radius. We can add more keywords. We can, turn the budget up and everything else to get more success. But I want to start really small, just a handful of keywords in my backyard with a small budget, and then see what type of results we get. So we published our campaign, let's say, okay, you would hit publish here. I'm not going to do this. I don't want this ad to actually run. My credit card is attached to this Google ad account. All right. What do we do once we actually launch? How do we optimize and how do we make sure that we're getting quality traffic? So after your campaign is live and Google's approved the ads, you're going to go to Insights and Reports here on a daily basis and go to the search term report. And that's going to show us exactly what people searched in the Google bar. Okay. You can do one of two things with that. It's not going to pull any from now because we don't have that campaign live, but let's go ahead and pretend. You can pick the campaign and it's going to show you exactly what people typed into the Google search bar. So you might see something that's really relevant and that's awesome. You might see something that's irrelevant, right? So you might see the name of a competing law firm, or you might see somebody that put in something that's on the peripheral of your legal expertise, but not specific enough. You can highlight it on the left-hand side. A blue button will appear. You can add it as a keyword or you can add it as a negative keyword, and that keyword will never prompt an ad impression again. So I want you to camp out in here, visit it daily, just kind of look at what's earning ad impressions and add those to either the keyword list or the negative keyword list. This is how we're going to scale the account. We're also how we're going to protect wasted ad spend by adding and expanding this negative keyword list. Speaking of which, go to admin on the bottom left-hand side. Let this load. We're going to build a negative keyword list associated with the account. I like doing it at the account level because that means we're going to hit the big blue plus on here for negative keywords. That means this is going to be applicable to all future campaigns, all existing and future campaigns. And you can probably think of quite a few negative keywords right off the bat for any law firm, including jobs, salary, cost, hiring, bar exam, things like that. So come up with a list of negative keywords that you know right off the bat you don't want to prompt an ad impression. These are typically words that are on the peripheral of your industry or your legal practice, but you don't want to actually spend money on earning traffic from. You can hit save, and that's again going to be applicable to your campaign and future campaigns. All right, so that's launching a very simple campaign, all right, for any legal practice. Start small, camp out in your search impression and share report, add some negative keywords, watch it over time. You'll add some keywords, then you can start scaling your geography and your budget as needed. We're not done though. I want you to go over to goals and create conversion goal. Select phone calls. Scroll down and we want calls from ads using call assets. And we can name this phone calls. I actually don't use a value for a phone call. In this case, you're more than welcome to. That might be something you revisit once you get some success under your belt and you get some phone calls and you understand the value of those calls. It's different for every law practice. It depends on which legal field you're covering. I count every call instead of just one. That means if someone calls back, it would count as two conversions or count as a single conversion if they called multiple times from an ad. I leave it on every. Call length 60 seconds. You can change this. I have some clients that say that the call needs to be at least 2 minutes for it to be considered a conversion, some 30 seconds. You get to decide. Defaults to 60 seconds, and I typically leave it there to start. We're going to hit create and continue and hit done. We're not done. Okay. So that's established. Our call conversion's set up. We're going to go back to campaigns. On the left-hand side, we're going to go to assets. This is where those site link and call it extensions are. We're going to hit call. You're going to hit the big blue plus sign. You're going to add your phone number and you are going to set this to whatever that conversion goal we named, phone calls in this case, and hit save. All right. Now we're tracking phone calls for our campaign, for our legal practice. Those are going to count as a conversion for every call over 60 seconds. So, last tip before I leave. After you've launched this campaign, go back to insights and reports at least once a week. Hopefully, you've been generating some phone calls. Go to report editor. And we're going to build a quick call report so that we can measure some of these phone calls to see how successful they are. Hit the blue button for create report. And on the far right hand side, put in caller. It's going to bring up these three. We want caller phone number. We want duration. And we want day. And this is going to give you the phone number that called your legal practice, how long the phone call was, and the day that they called. It's a great way to measure success. Hopefully, we see lots of 5, 7, 10-minute phone calls coming in all month long. So come back here at least weekly and make sure that your phone call quality is high. Guys, that's how you build a quick search campaign for a legal practice. Please, questions, comments down below. Look forward to helping you guys out more in the future. We'll talk to you later.